I'm about to save you a ton of time in manual upkeep when tracking the income for your business from Stripe or really any payment processor. As an operator, I have to keep track of a lot of different businesses, so I created an income sheet which tracks automatically new charges coming from the payment processor so I don't have to keep up with this month to month. Why is this helpful? It allows you to have a quick glance into how your products are performing on a monthly basis without having to do a bunch of manual upkeep or hiring a virtual assistant to do it for you. It'll basically just save you a ton of hours and a lot of money, so let's just show you how to do it. But before we do, if you feel like this automation is going to be helpful for you and your business, please give this video a quick thumbs up. It'll help it reach more people and actually help them like it's gonna help you. So let's jump in. All right, so the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna get into Airtable right here. And I've already created a board, but I'm gonna show you step by step what the board looks like. And so you can just copy it if you need to. So first thing is we're gonna go into here and we're gonna make this full name. So if you need to edit your field, make sure it's a single line text and put in full name. Next, we have a payment date. So we can track when payments are being made. This is just a date field and I labeled it like so. Total collected, it is a currency field, total collected. Processor is a dropdown, which just has Stripe as the dropdown. And then finally we have month, which is also just a dropdown, which signifies March or April. That way, if you ever need to kind of group these by month, you can do that. And then finally we have processing fees, which is a formula, which I think is the formula to calculate the processing fees for Stripe. I don't exactly recall what they charge. I think it's 2.9% and 30 cents, but put that for whatever your processor is. And then finally, we have our profit, the Stripe ID, which we can collect just in case we need it in the future. So once we have that set up, we can now go into Stripe. Make sure you have a product. So if you go to products, catalog, add a product, just create your product, whichever one you're gonna be testing with. You can do recurring or one-off, it doesn't really matter. In this case, I created a test product to try this automation with, and I have a customer who is getting charged with these $1 charges here. Now, once you have your product set up and ready to go, so now we're gonna go into make.com, and the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna get a Stripe module. The first one's gonna be Stripe, and we're gonna do a watch events trigger. Then we're gonna pick one of the events webhooks and click OK. So now what we're gonna do, we're gonna add another Stripe module, and we need to retrieve a customer so that we can get a little bit more information about who that charge is from. And so in this case, we're gonna go to object customer, right? Just because we're getting the customer ID into here so that we can track which customer it was. I'm gonna click OK. Next, what we're gonna do is we're gonna add another module, and this is gonna be a tool module. So we can just click tools, and what we're gonna do is actually set a variable. So setting a variable is important because what we're trying to do is making sure that our date matches the date that we have in Airtable, right? The formatting has to match so that we can keep track of which month is actually being charged, right? So in this case, we are going to do a format date right here. You go into here and you find up here, you can find format date right here. Here, you can actually put in a now variable, right? So it's gonna take the timestamp for right now, and we're gonna put it in the format of month and year. Why are you following this format? Well, because in Airtable, my month is formatted that way, month and year. So once we have that set up, what we have to do is set another variable, and that is gonna be the amount. And I'll tell you why I'm gonna do this. It's because for whatever reason, Stripe, when a payment gets made, it comes in like times 100. What I like to do in these automations is just grab the amount of which was charged, right? So if we go to object, let's look for, let me see if I can just search for it. Object amount, right? Let's grab this. Then I'll just divide this using a function, an operator, by 100. We're gonna click OK, and we're done with those two variables. These are very easy, but very necessary steps to make sure this works properly. Next, what we're gonna do is we're actually gonna search our Airtable database to make sure that this customer isn't already in there. What we're gonna do is we're gonna add an Airtable, and we're gonna search records. So we're gonna look in our base, doesn't seem to be here. So what I need to do is actually change this to this, and I'm gonna look in my base, I'm gonna find my table, and I'm gonna use a formula in order to find somebody that I'm looking for. So the formula, actually, I have it here. So find, and we need to get the customer ID. Grab this customer ID within the quotations and Stripe ID, right? So we're basically gonna be looking through the Airtable database for this exact field, which we have here. we're gonna look and see if the customer ID matches. So if it does match, great. We already have that record in Airtable. We can maybe just update it. But if it doesn't match, meaning it does not exist within that column, then we can create a new record. Our automation is gonna be a little bit more complicated than that, but it's okay. So next thing we wanna do is add what we call a router. So I'm gonna go into here and I'm just gonna grab a router, okay? And with this router, I'm gonna create 2 scenarios. The first scenario is gonna be a filter. I need to create a filter for if this ID does not exist, we're gonna go ahead and create a record in Airtable. So create a record in our base, our sandbox, table 1. And here you'll see we have all of our information, right? So we're gonna grab some information from Stripe, get our name. Let's see if we can get the payment date. Total collected, I think is just gonna be amount. So our amount processor, which is gonna be Stripe in this case. The month, which is going to be like so. And then our Stripe ID, which is just gonna be our customer ID here. I think we're good. Maybe what we can do is, usually these things have like weird names, so it's good that I can't find it because it just kind of shows you that this stuff happens. So duration, live mode, meta, invoice, description, email, phone, created, default source, delinquent, discount. Well, I guess what we can just do is put now. That makes sense. Payment date is just now, right? Because this just happened. So let's just go ahead and add this. Just put this timestamp for now, and that would work. So that's formatted. Next thing we're gonna do is set up another filter for another router, which is just going to be if ID exists, right? In this case, we're gonna look for ID, and if it exists, and let's say month does not equal to this month, then we're gonna create a new record. And I'll explain to you why we're doing this. So if you set up recurring charges, and let's say you get payment in March, so you create a record. Okay, well, the recurring month comes, so it's April now, and you get another payment. You want to track that as a separate payment, right? Because you're tracking income, not really your customers. That is still going to create a new record because that's now a new payment. And so we're basically just saying if the month is different, then create a new record. So we're just going to set it up the exact same way in the same table. We're going to go ahead and do name, payment date could just be the now, total collected is just the amount. I guess in this case, we're gonna grab this amount, right? Processor, same thing, it's just Stripe. The month is going to be this month. And then the Stripe ID is just gonna be that customer ID. Okay, so let's click OK. Everything should be okay. So let's give it a try. So there's our automation. And if we have any issues, we'll just troubleshoot and fix it. But for now, that's what we have set up. So let's just go ahead and click run once. I'm gonna go into Stripe and I'm going to create a payment for $1 and go and create. And let's see what happened. Great. We got a successful automation here. Create a record. Now let's go back to our Airtable and there it is. March 2024, Daniel Ferrero, payment date was today. Total collected was $1. Processor Stripe, March 2024. Processing fees are 33 cents, so our profit is 67 cents. And we have our Stripe ID right there. The idea behind this filter, so just so you can get a better understanding, is so that when Daniel Ferrero gets charged again in April, it's gonna then read this month and be like, okay, April and March are not the same month. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna create a new record and then put April. And so now we're gonna start having something that looks like this. So if I think I can just copy it like so. This will now then say April. And so now I'll have my grouping of say, okay, in March, I collected $1. In April, I also collected $1. And so that's kind of how I put this together and how it really works. So think of like the application to something like this. I'll show you very quickly how in my business, I use it to actually track affiliates. And so if I go into my business for our software, we have our income tab here, which has a ton of different things. What offer they bought, net 30, collected, processor, the affiliate who brought them in, processing fees, the affiliate's baseline, their split, the commissions that go out. So everything that comes in is very much tracked month to month, just automatically through our Stripe and other payment processors. And we have different payment processors that we use. Yeah, definitely a lot of application that can be used here. Obviously, I showed you just a very basic version of this automation, but think through like how you can possibly use this in your business. Leave it in in the comments and let me know how it works out for you. So with that said, if you like this video, please subscribe to my channel. I'm going to try to put out a lot more content, very like practical and useful automations to start growing your business. If you want to learn more how to automate, please join my Skool community. It's going to be a place where I cultivate a lot of people who want to learn about automation, who want to learn how to scale their businesses. I'm going to put a lot more deep dive content within the course of the Skool community. The community is free, so feel free to check it out and engage, and I'll see you in the next video.